Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, I'm honored to be here today to speak in support of Steve Grasz, who has been nominated by President Trump to fill a vacancy on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th District. For 16 years, Chief Judge William J. Riley, a Nebraskan, served ably on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit. In January of 2017, Chief Judge Riley notified me and Senator Sass that he would be taking senior status in the upcoming months. Senator Sass and I conducted an open process, and we invited Nebraskans to express their interest in this position. Nebraska's legal community touts an impressive list of accomplishments. However, one name consistently stood out in our search. After extensive consultation, it was clear Steve Grasz was the only candidate Senator Sass and I wanted to recommend to President Trump for this judgeship. Steve grew up on his family's grain and livestock farm near Chapel in the Nebraska Panhandle, and as a fifth-generation Nebraskan, he raised cattle, sheep, and pigs. He irrigated corn, and he baled hay. He graduated with honors from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln's Agriculture Honors Program. Steve then attended law school at the University of Nebraska's College of Law, where he finished at the top of his class, was an executive editor of the Nebraska Law Review, and won awards for his oral advocacy and writing skills. Steve has an impressive list of professional achievements earned during his distinguished career in appellate litigation that spans nearly 3 decades. He is currently senior counsel at Hush Blackwell in Omaha, where he has worked since 2002. He's handled numerous major constitutional litigation matters in the Nebraska Supreme Court, the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals, and the United States Supreme Court. Steve also gave 12 years of dedicated service to the state of Nebraska, serving as its Chief Deputy Attorney General. In that role, he devoted himself to defending the laws of the state and its citizens. Furthermore, Steve Grasz is highly respected by his colleagues. For many years, Steve earned the very highest peer rating available, the AV Preeminent. This peer-reviewed rating is based on legal knowledge and ethical standards. Given Steve's extensive legal experience, I was shocked to hear that the American Bar Association concluded Steve is not qualified to serve on the 8th Circuit, and I was not alone in my surprise. The president of the Nebraska State Bar Association, Timothy Engler, wrote to the committee, quote, "To clarify that the Nebraska State Bar Association was not involved in the recommendation made by the American Bar Association concerning the appointment of Steve Grasz." While the Nebraska Bar Association itself does not as a policy offer ratings or recommendations, Mr. Engler noted his own personal view that he always found Steve to be professional, civil, and ethical in all respects, and that he would have no questions regarding his judicial temperament as a member of the Judiciary. Mr. Engler's characterization of Mr. Graz's temperament, ethics, and ability are entirely consistent with the feedback that Senator Sass and I received from all across our state. And I am sad to say that after thoroughly examining the substance of the ABA's report, it is evident to me that the ABA evaluation of Mr. Grasz was a baseless political character assassination. Colleagues, for a moment, I would like to highlight the individuals who performed this so-called analysis, individuals with their own political convictions. Dean Emeritus Cynthia Nance, the primary ABA evaluator, received multiple awards from affiliates of the Democratic Party of Arkansas. Mr. Lawrence Pilgrim, the secondary evaluator, has donated thousands of dollars to Democratic political campaigns over the past decade. Neither of these activities, association with political organizations or financially supporting candidates, is in any way shameful. Indeed, they are integral to our democracy. And so, for these two individuals to suggest that Steve's participation in the democratic process or his passionate advocacy or serving as Deputy Attorney General for the state of Nebraska are somehow disqualifying to serve on the bench, well, it appears to me to be the height of hypocrisy. Moreover, alleged criticism of Mr. Grasz comes from anonymous sources. As my friend from Connecticut, a senior member of this committee, Senator Blumenthal, stated in 2006 regarding Vanessa Bryan's not qualified rating, and I quote, "I have even greater concern with the credibility of anonymous sources when those sources are used as evidence for a subjective characteristic, such as judicial temperament. I urge the Senate Judiciary Committee to only consider anonymous criticisms when such criticisms can be verified from other sources," close quote. In their analysis, the evaluators did not cite a single concrete example in their purported, quote, "clear, consistent pattern of criticism levied against Mr. Grasz." And needless to say, there was no corroboration from other sources. In fact, they failed to identify exactly what compromised this pattern or insinuation of bias. While they dismissively noted support of Mr. Grasz, they claimed it was not enough to, quote, "dissuade them." I have to ask, why not? Throughout our comprehensive vetting of Steve's credentials, we did not come across one single temperament issue. To the contrary, Nebraskans are effusive in their praise of Steve's temperament, integrity, and character, and the record will show that. Senator Sass and I have received numerous letters of recommendation on Steve's behalf from government officials, church pastors, business and community leaders, and Steve's friends and neighbors. Nebraskans across the political spectrum notes in detail Steve's thoughtfulness, his fair-mindedness, his high ethical standards, and his brilliant abilities as an attorney. Importantly, this respect for Steve is bipartisan. Deborah Gilg, as Senator Sass mentioned, a former U.S. attorney for Nebraska appointed by President Obama, wrote to this committee that, quote, "Steve has always enjoyed a reputation for honesty, impeccable integrity, and dedication to the rule of law. He possesses an even temperament well suited for the bench and always acts with respect to all that interact with him." I strongly urge the members of this committee to recognize the ABA evaluation for what it is, biased. It's a biased, baseless attempt filled with innuendo intended to damage Steve's outstanding legal reputation. And I am confident, and Nebraskans are confident, that Steve will faithfully uphold the Constitution and will apply the law neutrally, equally, and fairly to all people. I urge my Senate colleagues to support Steve Graz's nomination so the American people can benefit from his exceptional intellect, his skill, and his judgment. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Fischer.